Good evening. At the start of the City Council regular meeting, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Barksdale.
Present.
Mayor Garrett.
Here.
Councilmember Hammond.
Present.
Councilmember Jennings.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor, absent.
I make a motion to excuse Mayor Pro Tem Cantor.
Second.
It's been moved in second, and he is out due to personal reasons. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond.
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Councilmember Barksdale.
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes. I invite everyone in the audience to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I almost spilled over. Yeah, I have someone to make a motion to approve.
Can you let them know about the overflow?
There's overflow in the other room to watch the council meeting. In this room, and I don't think there's any.
Yeah, it's conference room and meeting place.
Okay. I have a motion for approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Third.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. Or is there any discussion? Sorry. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond.
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes,
Councilmember Barksdale.
Yes.
thank you. First up are presentations. We have State Representative Hoskins and State Senator Moss about the infrastructure funding, which I am so overjoyed. So I won't take it away from you though.
Right.
Do I have a big check?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council, Administration, residents of Lathrup Village. I'm Jeremy Moss, State Senator here, joined by our State Representative for Lathrup Village, Jason Hoskins. I don't want to give a full legislative update, but the last term has been incredibly busy. It was incredibly productive. We were able to achieve a lot of our goals, policy goals, including we sent out $1 billion in tax relief by increasing the working families tax credit, by eliminating the pension tax. We restored labor rights. We restored personal freedom in terms of reproductive freedom and expanding our civil rights law. We also instituted gun safety laws for the first time in a generation, dealing with this epidemic of mass violence, mass gun shootings in our communities. And also, we finally were able to budget with a lens of equity. And I think that's why we're here today. We've taken some serious strides in investing in communities that have been long left out in the budget process, given the political dynamics of the legislature. And one of the things that State Rep Hoskins and I did just really in the last year was we went through our communities and we asked, what are your priorities? If we're able to get some serious, significant funding back into our communities, and we are able to invest in our people and in our cities, what are some of the priorities in our community here? We met with the mayor, we met with the city manager, who gave us a long list. Obviously, we weren't able to fulfill everything, but one of the things that we strongly advocated for in this budget process was Lathrup Village's water infrastructure. The water mains are from 100 years ago. And to be able to deliver a significant investment to impact really the entire community at large was something that we prioritized. So we were very loud and vocal on behalf of Lathrup Village throughout the budget process, with 110 legislators, 110 representatives, and 38 senators to have to navigate through. And we held on to this water money for Lathrup Village all throughout the way. And when the budget was signed, this was in the final product. So we're very pleased to be able to deliver this state investment. I think it's important to explain how the process goes. We have systemic funding on things that are ongoing, like education and our state departments, health, public safety. But there were opportunities for legislators to advocate for specific grants that were community-based, and could have been anything under the sun. But Rep. Hoskins and I held on to that Lathrup Village water money all along the way, and we were very pleased that that was in the final budget. I'll turn it over to Representative Hoskins to say a few words But this is something that we wanted to make sure that people in Lathrup Village know that you are seen and your water is valued, and we want to upgrade those systems. But also to affirm, because we work hand in hand with the mayor, the council, and administration, and they have been on top of at least the city's priorities from a state perspective. So this is a result of a big partnership between us as legislators and the city communicating together and figuring out where are the priorities. So I want to commend the manager, the mayor, the council, the administration for working alongside with us as we identify those priorities, and we're making a big investment here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure working with the administration and the members of the council and the mayor on being able to get the priorities for Lathrup Village through. For me, of course, it's personal because my parents live in Lathrup Village. They actually live right down the street, right now in California. Also, my father's name is Michael Green, with the same spelling as well.
Now you know.
Right. So this is very important to make sure that we are getting those wins for Lathrup Village. And it has been such a pleasure to be able to work on getting historic amounts of funding. I know not only for the city, but for the district as a whole. For my district, for representative, took you down a little bit. For Senator Moss's,
Oh, hey, you took them up.
yeah, for Senator Moss's district as well. And so that's why we are honored today to be able to present these $2 million for water and mains to the city of Lathrup Village.
I want to make sure that everyone also knows that this is setting a precedence, because we never received any, Lathrup Village never received any money like this before. Am I correct?
Not like this. I mean,
No.
Okay.
We've had some challenges budgeting since I've been in the legislature, but this is a big deal here for Lathrup, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
I'm
we have
really
a check-
excited about
We have a
it.
check to present.
What's $2 million if we don't have an oversized check?
I know, that's
Take a picture of it.
I don't want to waste too much. Everybody?
Little things in life.
Yeah.
Happy and giant.
Bigger one.
Is she with them?
This is first.
You got it? All right, thank you.
Oh, it's big.
Mike, you got a better phone?
Publishers clearing.
Mike should get up there.
We were smiling.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, good to see you.
Can you start on my street first?
That would be a city decision. That's a city decision. And me, I don't know.
Don't jump in.
I don't want to put the administrator on the spot or the manager on the spot. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the project? We discussed it as a Lathrup Village priority, but it's important for the city. So if you want to talk a little bit more about
Yeah,
water mains in the city.
So I don't have it pulled up, but this is going to be dedicated to Southfield Water Main. So as the senator mentioned, the Southfield Water Main specifically from 12 miles south is over 100 years old. It's also undersized for our community. So what we're going to be doing is taking an 8-inch ductile iron water main and upgrading it to the standard 12-inch water main running down that section of town. It's going to greatly increase water pressure throughout town. It's going to benefit the community, and like I said, it's just naturally getting rid of very old infrastructure that should have been gone years ago. So we're extremely excited for this. Once we get the details, we're going to start engineering and hopefully get this project rolling within the next year or so.
All right. And to close it out, because we don't want to take any more time on the agenda, and we'll have 2 open seats for those in the program. If you ever need us, don't hesitate to reach out. We do community conversations the last Monday of every month over at the Southfield Library. We actually just came from that, so you're more than welcome. It's 5:30 the last Monday of every month at the Southfield Library. You can go to senatormoss.com. I don't know what your website is. Rephoskins.com. If you ever need anything from us, we're driven by feedback from the community. We both live in that other city, but we know how important Lathrup Village is. And the Southfield Lathrup area, and so we definitely work for you, are on guard for you, and if you ever have an issue that you need state government to help navigate, we're here for you. My district director Elizabeth is here with us, so if you ever need either one of us, let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
So you're leaving the check, right? You're leaving the check, right?
You're asking.
I just want to make sure. I just making sure he's not leaving with the check.
I want you to
You
take
can just
that.
leave that check.
I want you to take that.
Drop it off in the mailbox.
Thank you.
If it's not in the mailbox, you'll,
Yes, sir.
I'm writing an email.
So, also today is, marks the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So we have a proclamation in honor of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So whereas January 27th marks International Holocaust Remembrance Day, designated by the United Nations General Assembly to commemorate the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, Birkenau, the largest Nazi concentration and extermination camp. And whereas January 27th, 2025 marks 80 years since the liberation. And whereas today and every day we remember and honor the memory of the 6 million Jews who were systematically murdered by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, along with millions of other innocent victims, including people with disabilities, political dissidents, and other targets for persecutions. And whereas anti-Semitism, and I'm sorry I lost my place, 1 second, I moved that too fast. There it is. Has been defined by the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance as a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred towards Jews. Radical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, towards Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. And whereas the City of Lathrup Village reaffirms its commitment to promoting tolerance, understanding, and human dignity while standing against all forms of hatred and discrimination. And where it is our duty to ensure that the lessons of the Holocaust remain a cornerstone of our collective memory and to honor the resilience and courage of those who survived and rebuilt their lives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Michael Garrett, Mayor of the City of Lathrup Village, City Council, do hereby proclaim January 27th, 2025 as an International Holocaust Remembrance Day in the City of Lathrup Village and call upon all residents to join in the solemn remembrance of the victims, educate themselves about the Holocaust, and commit to building a more tolerant, compassionate society. And it is further, God, this is much longer than I thought, and further, sorry again, okay, now it's resolved that all citizens are urged to honor the lives that were lost and do their part to end anti-Semitism. In witness, we're going to put the seal of Lathrup Village on here and sign it. The next one, we have the celebration. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Next is a proclamation of celebrating February as Black History Month. Whereas during Black History Month, we honor the extraordinary contributions made by African Americans throughout the history of our republic, and we renew our commitment to liberty and justice for all. And whereas during Black History Month, we recognize the achievements of African Americans and their role in shaping history, along with the contributions that African Americans have made to enhance the economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development of our country. And whereas during Black History Month, we recognize the central role of African Americans in shaping the story of America and honoring their courage and contributions. And whereas the celebration of Black History Month is a positive way of recognizing the culture and history of African Americans as vital to the core beliefs and values of this society. And whereas observing Black History Month provides opportunities to gain a deeper understanding of African American history and acknowledge the centuries of struggles for equality and freedom. Now, therefore, the Lathrup Village City Council does hereby proclaim and declare the month of February as Black History Month in Lathrup Village, Michigan, and further encourages all individuals to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Now, I give you the chance to talk. So if anyone wants to be heard for public comments for items that's on the agenda, please come to the microphone, and you just have to give your your name so we know who you are. anybody wants to be heard for something that's on the agenda.
Water bills moved off the agenda. That was postponed.
That-
Special assessment.
Yes, that is correct. Due to a publication error and with the newspaper, later on the agenda, we're going to be rescheduling the public hearing.
Anyone want to be heard about anything that's on the agenda? I thought not. Consent agenda. Make a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes. And getting into the action requests for consideration and approval. First is request to approve resolution 2025-01 tentative special assessment roll for general purposes and schedule a public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. As was just noted, there's an error with the newspaper posting after you guys approved the special assessment tentative roll last month. So we're looking for council to approve an updated special assessment tentative roll and set the public hearing for your February meeting.
Gotcha. Who would like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the attached resolution and set the public hearing for special assessments for February 24th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next is a request to set public hearing, Public Act 33, Police and Fire Special Assessment District.
Thank you, Mayor. So as council may remember, over this past year, we had a finance review committee put forth recommendations to City Council on how we're going to handle a revenue issue with the city. Back in October, City Council directed staff to start moving forward in enacting Public Act 33, which is fire and police special assessments. The first step in this process is setting a public hearing to establish the district only. So that's what we're looking to do today, is just to set a public hearing for your February meeting to establish the district.
Thank you. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to set the Public Act 33 Police and Fire Special Assessment District public hearing for February 24th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next is a request to approve budget amendments.
Thank you, Mayor. So we did discuss this during our study session, but this is our mid-year budget amendments. As council is aware, we do budget amendments twice a year to reflect how the trends are going with the city. So including your budget, we have budget amendments for all the recommended accounts within the city. Overall, staff believes we're in a good spot so far throughout the year. Some big changes. Revenue for general fund, we're projecting to increase over $200,000. This is mainly due to great investment return, and we did a one-time clean out of some bond defaults that we get to keep. For expenses, we're aware that accounting services went up. That is to clean up some of the issues that we were receiving. We have since ceased our relationship with Plant Moran for this purpose, so we should be all set there. Then the other amendments throughout, especially the expense side, are for approved projects from the city.
Thank you. Who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2024-2025 mid-year budget amendments as presented.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, request to approve the ratification of the agreement between the City of Lathrup Village and the Lathrup Village Police Officers Association.
Thank you, Mayor. After about 6+ months of negotiation, we are finally here and we are ready to ratify the agreement. So enclosed in your packet is the proposed agreement with the Lathrup Village Patrol Officers. This has been approved by the union, and we are just looking for council's approval so we can create the signature-ready version and have this be enacted for the next 3 years. Highlights include wage increases of 5%, 4%, 4%, with also including an increase in employer contribution to retirement. One of the big things in return that the city is getting, we are changing the insurance of the patrol officers. They're moving from a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO 250 to a Blue Care Network POS Platinum plan. This saves about 16% insurance cost. Other than that, naturally you'll see throughout the document, there's a lot of changes throughout. This was thanks to the union also getting a new bargaining unit. So we got to do a lot of cleanup from past years.
Thank you. Who would like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the ratification of the January, oh, am I getting that? Oh, yeah. Ratification of the January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2027 agreement between the City of Lathrup Village and the Lathrup Village Police Officers Association.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion?
I just want to commend the city manager and his team on doing a great job negotiating this contract. It took a long time and a lot of effort on staff's part as well as on part of our police force and their representatives to come to a compromise. It's definitely more than what we have had to pay historically, but we anticipated that. And I feel like this is the best option for the city in keeping our public safety intact and making sure that we can continue to recruit and retain high-quality police officers to work for our city and make Lathrup a place that police officers want to work.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I concur. Great job on the negotiation.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Motion or request is approved. Next is a request to appoint a member of the Lathrup Village Parks and Rec Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. As council is aware, we did have a resignation from the Lathrup Village Parks Committee, so we're looking to appoint a new member today.
Okay. Just 1 second, because I'm trying to get back to where it was. Let's just go right into it. Okay, so it's for me to make my recommendation for who I think should fill this role?
Correct.
Okay, there it is. So I recommend Keely Watson to be the to be appointed to the Parks and Rec Committee with the term ending on December 31st, 2025.
I'll make a motion to appoint Keely Watson to the Parks and Recreation Committee for a term ending on December 31st, 2025.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
So we had 4 applicants for this position, and it's great to see people continuing to want to be involved in the various committees that the city is staffing. I personally, and I'm sure I speak for the other council members, who really appreciate the willingness of those 4 people to throw their hats in the ring and be considered to be on this committee. The committee's been doing a great job, and I anticipate that adding Keely or whoever else we might decide at this point to add to the committee will be a benefit to all residents in the city.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yay, Parks.
Anyone else? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
She is appointed. City Administrator, do you have anything?
Not today, Mayor.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Anyone want to report on any boards, commissions, committees?
Yes. For Parks and Rec, we have a new member, as we all know. But Parks and Rec is also starting classes for the city. This first class is a sourdough class, and it is full currently. This series that Parks and Rec is starting, if you have a skill, talent, or topic that you'd like to teach to other citizens, please reach out to Mike, or there is an instructor sign-up form on the Parks and Rec's Facebook page. Please feel free to go in and fill it out. We are planning some spring events currently and are expecting to do food truck Fridays again this upcoming summer.
I'll sign up for you. I'll be here.
Okay. Oh, and Yay Parks.
Roger Lynn, where is he? I know he's here. Do you want to say anything about the tree committee?
Yeah, I can give a little update on very soon.
Can you come over here, please? Do you mind? Thank you.
Just so people can hear on the video.
Oh, sure. Working on a couple grants. One grant we've already been awarded, the DTE grant, it's a $4,000 grant, which is a matching grant. So at this point in time, we're going to be coming to council and requesting the city to, do the matching part of it. That's forthcoming yet, probably in the next meeting or two. In the meantime, we're also going to go out and get 3 bids as far as the plant material. And we are also, at this point in time, focusing on where these trees are going to be, initially planted, or we'll talk about where it's going to be planted. So we're making, good progress on that. The other grant is the DNR grant, which is an IRA, Inflation Reduction Act grant. And we're putting the final touches on that, and we're hoping to have that, submitted by the end of February. So that's encouraging. The other thing that we're talking about and discussing at this point in time is Arbor Day. The date on that is going to be April 26th. And announcements will go out, and some events and functions that we'll have as far as the tree planting. But that's just sort of the summary of what's going on. Yay, trees.
Yay trees.
Thank you.
I have a report from the Planning Commission.
Okay.
The Planning Commission met on January 21st. We had 2 action items on our agenda. One was to provide review and approval for a site plan for a new auto parts business that's opening up at 26600 Southfield Road. In that case, the applicant had come with a pretty, what I would describe as overly modern and overly metallic proposal for the frontage of that building. We provided them feedback, and they came back with a proposal that complied with our zoning ordinances for building materials much more nicely, and so we approved that site plan. It was also, the Planning Commission considered language for updating the zoning ordinances for the Village Center District to allow for first floor residential occupancy. The Planning Commission did not approve the language as it was presented. Instead, we directed the city planner to go back and revisit the language and try to come up with a more specific proposal to present to the Planning Commission at our next meeting. So that issue is still under consideration by the Planning Commission. The next meeting for the Planning Commission is on February 18th, Tuesday.
Thank you. Well, school board.
No report.
Thank you. There's no unfinished or new business.
Kelly, can I ask a question?
No, not right now. So give me just
This is something you were supposed to do 6 months ago. Bill Bestie.
I have no idea, but since you're talking right now, why don't you just go ahead?
Put down the flag of Lakers only
And I said that I would
veterans.
get back with you, that I haven't found it yet. We have not found it. No, where am I? Oh, no unfinished business, no business. Public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. And just to give you an FYI, that Surnow has withdrawn the appeal of the HDC. So if you would like to be heard, please come to the microphone. You have 3 minutes. It is a hard stop of 3 minutes. Pardon me? Historical district. So we were supposed to hear the appeal today. Surnow was, not today, on the 3rd.
Next
We
week.
were supposed to hear, Surnow was supposed to come to ask for an appeal. The HDC decided that they they didn't approve the plan, and they are coming to us to appeal it. They've withdrawn their request for the appeal. You're welcome. Go ahead.
Well, as most of you know, I'm Diane Anderson. Last week I turned 76, and that makes 74 years uninterrupted attachment to Lathrup. And I'm here tonight to ask the council some questions about the trashing of our architectural heritage. After the war, mid-century modern and federal architecture not only was the norm for the community housing, but it also was for Southfield Road. And we have some wonderful buildings. But we have lost some of them, and the buildings that have come up afterwards in no way, shape, or form conform to what was supposed to be our architectural integrity. When Cerno trashed the old town hall, he promised he'd put up things that were appropriate and of great quality. Not only has he not done that, but the things that have gone up have businesses that are inappropriate for being here. Just look at what they've done in Berkeley with appropriate type businesses and what we have here. We have had demolition by neglect, with council not only failing to maintain the school, they were storing cookies in there, but they haven't maintained those buildings from the 50s and 60s. Look south of this building right now, and you will see how they are trashing one of those important buildings that held businesses that were lawyers, doctors, that sort of thing. It's a real tragedy to me because we had so much to work on, and instead demolition by neglect has become the norm. Anything goes seems to be this council's approach to putting businesses in. Go down the streets of Berkeley, those of you that haven't lately, and you'll see wonderful boutiques, the very thing that the Historical Society was formed to get into the school. And finally, the school itself. What Cerno is trying to do is a disgrace. The school was deeded to the City of Southfield Schools, and it was to be used for education purposes in perpetuity. Looks like somebody has pulled a Swiftie along the way, changed the deed of gift, and what is our only really major part of parkland looks to be trashed and privatized. Be very clear, folks, it will be privatized by the Cerno people. We lost the 2 skating rinks that were by Stanford Court in California. We lost Campbell's Playground. We've got a dinky little playground by Rainbow on the other side of 11 Mile where the kids get to soak up healthy carbon monoxide while they play. We've got another lovely one for little tots right in the middle of the road at the end of Saratoga. Beyond that, we have virtually nothing. Where the school was our playground, it was our park area, it was what we had. So my question, why has nobody on this council bothered to look at what Berkeley has done, that Irish boutique, that wonderful place for crafts? It's just a wonder to walk down 12 Mile Road. You could have done that here, and instead we have tobacco shops. We got another petrol station. We had the 2 petrol stations at 12 and Southfield.
Thank you.
And now
Thank
we
you.
have a 4th one. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Anyone else want to be heard?
Good evening, Council. I simply want to read from our ordinances, just one specific spot, and it's 6.1, and it's called Site Plan Review. This is what the Planning Commission typically works on. A site plan review requirements in this article are intended to provide a consistent and uniform method of review of proposed development plans to ensure full compliance with the regulations of this article and other applicable ordinances and state and federal laws, to achieve efficient land use, to protect natural resources, to prevent adverse impact on adjoining or nearby properties. It's the intent of these provisions to encourage cooperation and consultation between the city and the applicant in the development of these city land objectives. Now, I checked the Planning Commission, and maybe Jason can help me out. I don't know if they've ever done a site plan review, our Giffords and Webster planners. Okay, that's what I had to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to be heard?
I think I do. I guess I'm just gonna make a comment.
You have to come over to the microphone. Thank you.
What was his name?
Bruce Copus.
Thank you.
C-O-P-U-S.
Hi, everyone. My name's Shelley Reeves. This is my first city council meeting, so I'm really here to express my concern about the Cerno project. You mentioned that they withdrew their historical consideration for an override. Does that mean that this is a dead issue, or is this still an ongoing consideration for them to develop that school? I guess, okay, so beyond that, I just want to be present, have my voice heard, that I would literally be living in the shadows of this school. Based on what I've read online, which I've not done any research or validated it, and Bruce Cantor replied and said that most of the tax information that's circling online is kind of speculation at this point. But if I'm going to live in the shadows, I want to make sure that this is financially viable for the city. The numbers I was hearing was like under 100K revenue versus like potential 400,000 to 600,000. And I'm kind of wondering what that process is. Like, will that be made public before opinions are drawn or votes are made? So really, I'm just seeking information and then just to be present to say, this negatively affects me. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to be heard?
Hi, my name's Lauren Barris, and I just wanted to congratulate you on getting the $2 million. That's really amazing, and for our water mains, which would be really timely if the apartment building is approved, so that we'd have better water mains for that. Also, wanted to thank Mike and council and Austin for working so much to try to get this to go through, and to also listen to everybody's concerns. I think it's really important, and appreciate the fact that you're able to listen to our concerns, and that Cerno is going to take the concerns of the Historic District Committee and think about that, and come back with some tweaks to their plan. And from what I heard them say, and I'm quoting them, they wanted to come up with something that Lathrup Village could be proud of. So I'm really glad that they are listening to the Historic Committee, and that you are listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to be heard?
Is this thing on? Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Kevin Tardivi. My wife and I, Maureen, have been living here for 26 years. When we moved here, one of the attractions was the historic part of Lathrup Village, all the uniqueness of the homes, all the buildings around. It's really important to the community. From everyone that we talked to, we're all of the same feeling. I attended a town hall last week, and I've got some concerns. I've seen the plan for what you have planned here around this property. It does not seem to align with the charm of this city. This building's overwhelming looking. It's, you know, I would recommend that you go back and come up with a different plan that would align better with this city. I have a suggestion for you. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Plymouth. We talked about Berkeley, but there's an old bank building in Plymouth, Michigan that Westbourne Market took over. And it's unbelievable. It's like a destination grocery store, but there's more to it than that. I would like to see that happen in this building over here. I'm not talking about a Kroger. We don't need another one of those. Something unique that people up and down Southfield Road can come to, that want to come here. You can incorporate a restaurant. There's work that can be done with this. Because what you've got planned right now, I'm going to be a voice of dissent on that. I don't think it's appropriate for this town. And I know from a lot of people that were with us at the town hall meeting feel the exact same way. And I think it would behoove you to get and take seriously the input from the residents here. We've been here a long time, and we would really appreciate some input. After all, you work for us. Thank you.
Bruce, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to be heard?
I didn't plan on this, but I'm coming up. My name's Nancy Griffin, and the reason I stood up is because I'm listening to everyone. I'm very open-minded, and I'm just concerned that the city council hasn't had a meeting where we can have these conversations. And I mean, I know I could contact each of you individually and ask questions, but I'd like to hear the input from other residents, and that sort of gets me going and thinking about other ideas. I think it would really behoove you, and it would be in your best interest as our council, whatever way this goes, is if you give us an opportunity to be together, to have this conversation, have the surnows there, but let us ask questions and let us be together asking these questions. We love this city, and we're willing to work with you. Don't dismiss us, and I'm getting all my information I'm not on social media, I'm not on the Facebook. So everything I'm getting is piecemeal. I would just like all the facts, how much the tax revenue, everything, just to share that with us. And you haven't done it yet. I know they did sort of a private meeting last week, but it should be our city council that's holding the meeting with our city manager. It really should. So please give some consideration, and I hope you'll plan something like that, because we'll all be here, plus a lot of other people. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Bouchard, and I've been a resident of Lathrup Village for over 30 years. I would like to address the Cerno proposal for Annie Lathrop School. After doing much research, I fail to see how this is a good deal for anyone except Cerno. My concerns for this project are as follows. The pilot program. Currently, the city is receiving about $22,000 from the school property. In the current proposal, Cerno is offering 4% of their rental income as payment in lieu of property taxes. One could estimate a development this size could typically pay anywhere between $400,000 to $600,000 per year. It would be tax revenue for the city. Instead, with the current pilot proposal, we could get at most maybe $80,000 to $100,000. The next concern I have is on the strain. Oh, I do want to say, in addition, in order for the pilot program to even be considered, the city council has to amend our ordinance to allow for that pilot program. The next concern is the strain on our infrastructure, the sewer system, roads, police, fire. We already have issues with so many parts of our aging infrastructure, and having an influx of 300 people is only going to increase all of that and cost the city more money. Parking, I think, is a major concern. In the plans, there's only spots for 1.6 cars per apartment unit. So where are the rest of those cars going? Does that mean they're going to have to park on our streets? Or is the city council going to have to change our overnight parking ordinance in order to accommodate for that? Flooding is already a huge issue in Lathrup. Developing 4 acres of land is only going to increase the flooding issue drastically. Also property values, and this affects all of us, including city and our tax revenue. There are currently 10 houses that back up to Lathrup. People are not going to want to buy houses that back up to a giant development and giant parking lot. These property values will potentially decrease, and then that affects all of our property values. So much of real estate is about location. What was once a big selling point for those homes backing up to a beautiful park will become a deterrent. And then if property values go down, that means the city actually loses money in tax revenue also. And then also the loss of a beautiful historic building. Cerno has shown in other cities they are capable of preserving the historic beauty of a property while developing the property into something up-to-date and practical. Yet that's not what they've done with this proposal. They're only keeping the front facade that's engulfed by 2 giant buildings to each side. The city does not own the land, but the city is not powerless. While I'm not against development in Lathrup, and I do believe we deserve better. Lathrup deserves a project that enhances rather than diminishes the character of our community. I urge you to consider the long-term impact of this proposal and hold Cerno to a higher standard. Please reject the pilot program and ensure any development aligns with our ordinances and the values that make Lathrup Village so special.
So, Andrea, I don't have to read your letter now, right?
There was a little bit more detail in there.
So you still want me to read the letter too?
I mean, it's up to you if you want to hear my further input or not. Oh, you mean out loud right now? Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you meant
No. Okay. Anyone else want to be heard? Please come to the podium.
Hi, Jonathan Terra, resident of Lathrup Village. Excuse me if this is something that has already been in the minds of council, because I haven't followed this issue as closely as I might have. But I want to urge council to see if they have the power to require a completion bond, given current economic uncertainty. I was in San Diego in 2008, and for 10 years, I walked around in my neighborhood looking at holes in the ground. If you have the power, let's make sure that we don't wind up with a half-completed project with a hole in the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to be heard?
Hello, I'm Joel Welsh, Lathrup resident for 30 years or so on Saratoga. I don't know anything about this Cerno project, and that is a shame. I read the weekly newsletter from top to bottom. Nothing. My friend Kevin Tardivi, Maureen Tardivi, let me know, hey, something's going on you need to be aware of. That's a real shame. It frightens me based on what I know, but I don't know much. I see that as council's responsibility. The last time I came to a city council meeting was about 25 years ago. There were so many residents at that meeting that it was standing room only downstairs, hundreds of people. None of you were on the council at that time. But the same thing happened. There was a plan to put up roadblocks in Lathrup Village. It meant that at the end of one street, in order to get from one person's house who was on a corner, she had two driveways on two different streets. She's on the corner. It would have taken her 2 miles to get from one driveway to the other because of a roadblock. Silly. So the residents rallied, and that was shot down. At this point, I expect residents to rally, and I don't know if this is good or not, but it sure sounds like it's definitely sneaky. Sneaky. Now, what happens when a public official or a public council does something sneakily? There is no trust. So right now, I don't trust any one of you. Please, call a citywide meeting. Have it downstairs so hundreds of people can hear facts. Have their opinions shared so that you, as our elected officials, I respect that, can come to proper conclusions based on your own great consciences on what is best for the city.
Thank you. Anyone else want to be heard? Anyone else want to be heard? I'll take that as a no. So. So let me ask you this question. If you're speaking now, do I have to read your letter also?
I didn't write a letter.
Okay.
Oh, I just, based on what I just heard, I couldn't help myself. I didn't prepare. But I have to say that I am disappointed with the transparency of this project. The council was asked to hold a town hall, and they said no. So the residents did one because we wanted people to know what Cerno was planning. And touching on that transparency thing, I can say personally that it is true that with the cannabis proposal, the council tried to hide that from the residents on the agenda the night they were voting for it. They put it on the agenda as a code number only so that residents wouldn't show up to vote on it. Cerno has this plan, and from what I can see, it only benefits him. He stands to make the money. We have a revenue problem. Why are we building a building that isn't going to give us the revenue that they're promising? We just want to be informed, and based on how you snuck the marijuana through, I really see that this is another plan to try and get something passed without the residents being informed. Thank you.
Anyone else want to be heard? Okay, so we go to mayor and council. I'm going to say this real quick because I hear you and that you would like to have a town hall. There's something key that Mr. Copus said about a site plan. We haven't even gotten to that place yet. It's not accepted. It's not accepted yet. This is just a pie in the sky, actually, type of development. Nothing has happened yet. What does it mean that they repealed, took back the fact that they wanted to appeal the HDC? Because they're going back to the HDC because they have revised, because they have changed their plans. They have redone the plans. Do I know what they look like? No. No one up here has seen what the new plan looks like. So when you're saying that we weren't transparent and that you don't trust us. So April 16th, 2024, we had a planning commission meeting. That's where the conceptual review was done. Then September 20th, 2024, the Downtown Development Authority did the MEDC letter of support. Then October 21st, 24, City Council study session was a discussion about the pilot ordinance discussion. 12/12/24 was the Historic District Commission, the HDC review. 12/17 was the Planning Commission Site Plan and Zoning Ordinance Modification meeting. Then January 6, 25, the City Council study session on the HDC appeal discussion. And then the 21st, Planning Commission Zoning Ordinance Modification request. So that is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 meetings since April that we have had a discussion about this site plan. That's number one, believe it or not. I'm just reading what I have in front of me. So there's that part. The other part is, and maybe I'm not the smartest person in the book, and I know that I'm currently trying to get a doctor's degree in business, but I think I understand this part. The building next door is not city-owned. The only thing that we have control over is the ordinances and holding up to what the charter says. That's it. One thing that I think, yes, we're going to have a town hall when we get to that point, whether or not this site plan even happens. We're going to get to that point. We will have a town hall, and we will have Cerno there. And I mean, you can believe me or not, Diane. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. That's going to happen because we've done that for everything else. We did it for Tim Hortons when Tim Hortons was trying to be across the street, and we did it for
Michigan First.
Michigan First. It always happens. But what you all are talking about right now, it's a design on some paper, to be quite truthful. It's not happening yet. And so, again, saying next door, it's everybody has said what they would like to see there, right? I would like to see, there's a place in Milwaukee, beautiful place that has individual stalls for creative people for different things. I would love to see that in there. I'm not giving Suriname any money. That's their building, right? Have you been inside that building? I have. I know what it looks like for it to be renovated. It's not a small feat. So while I'm really excited that everyone got together to have this town hall to discuss it, do I think it was premature? I absolutely think it was premature. And the way that you all are saying, you don't trust us and whatever else, there's nothing to say. We did provide these meetings for you to come to hear it. There's nothing going on right now. If it does not pass the site plan or site plan review, nothing's gonna happen. And we don't have that yet. These are things that Suriname is coming up with. And then he tried to do a school, that was shot down. He tried to do something else. There's 3 other things that he tried to do with that building, and it was shot down. It's again trying to figure out what to do with this eyesore that's been sitting there at least for, I'll just throw it out there, for 12 years. Trying to, pardon me? So it's no, I'm telling you based off, excuse me. Excuse me. No, not.
That isn't a
So,
presentation.
Okay, so, excuse me, okay? There's still, right now, public comment is shut down, okay? Because public comment is shut down right now, okay?
Where's the
Hold on.
police?
So, you call, what you call it? Okay. So, as I'm saying a quote from what I get in my emails. I'm not saying what I am thinking. So you don't have the complaints for all the years I've sat on council about the eyesore that's sitting next door. So those are going to be your residents that you would like to maybe talk to them and say that you have an issue with it. But the key thing is that, again, it's private property. All we can do is work on the ordinances. And if it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't feel right, then we're not going to vote yes for it. We're not. So, I'm saying all that to say that I think that it was really premature, and also some of the things that have been said is insulting, I think, for all of us, to say that we're, So, first one was to answer each one of these. So, for Diane, you were saying all the different things that, did you all look in Berkeley, whatever. As I said, it's premature. Yes, I've been in Berkeley, but it's premature. Then you're saying that we have unattractive businesses here. So I encourage you to put a proposal together on how you think that we should go and attract new businesses that are appropriate in your mind, to let us know that. Bruce Copus, you're absolutely right about the site plan. We're not there yet. As soon as we get one, you all will know when we get the site plan. Ms. Reeves, is it an ongoing consideration? Right now, they have to go back to the HDC and see what they say. And again, it's still premature. I don't know where it's gonna go from here. Thank you, Lauren. That's all for you. Kevin, I don't wanna mess up your last name. Tardivi. Thank you. Recommend to relook at the plans. They are, and I have to go out to Plymouth for something, and I vaguely recall what Westbourne looks like, and that you're against it. Thank you. Nancy Griffin. There will be a town hall once we get to that point, but right now, it is premature.
Okay. That's great.
Andrea. I don't have anything next to yours. Thank you for your comments, because I didn't write anything next to it. It'll be a town hall once we get there. Jonathan, I'm gonna look up the completion bond of uncertainty. I think that that's interesting, and we need to do more research on that. Joel Walsh. I don't know what can restore your trust, because I don't think that we should have really lost it, because there was not something that was really, there was no town hall, because there's no vote on this project yet.
But
There
you
is,
were originally supposed to vote
excuse
on
me,
it
excuse me,
tonight.
no, excuse me. And since we're just a free-for-all today, what we were supposed to vote on was not tonight. It was supposed to be on February 3rd. And that was to do, what was it, the appeal?
Appeal the Historic District Commission decision denying the land support.
So that doesn't mean it goes through. That does not. That just means we overturn that. Okay, we're not gonna go back and forth, but I'll let you know, that was just to overturn the HDC. It still had to go back to what Mr. Copus said, has to go through site plan. And that's when all your questions honestly should come, when we get to the site plan. And so, it's not true. But anyway, did I miss anybody else that spoke? Okay. Oh,
Lauren?
okay.
You don't have to answer. Why'd you change the ordinance for first floor residents? If you're not-
They tabled the ordinance.
I mean, why are you tabling it? Why was it supposed to be?
We don't have it. It went to the the planning commission tabled it. Come back to the planning commission then. Because it has not come to council yet. It has not. Do you want to give an explanation of why it was tabled? But no.
Why it was tabled? So the planning commission received, we requested draft ordinance language from Giffords Webster to consider adding authorization for first floor residential occupancy in the village center district. The conversation that the planning commission had was, is this appropriate for the village center district? Are there other uses? Could there be some sort of a compromise where maybe there's first floor residential occupancy in certain parts of the village center district and not in others? None of those questions have been answered. It's all conjecture at this point, and we didn't feel that it was appropriate to approve the language that was presented to us. So we asked Giffords Webster to go back and revisit the language and come back to the next planning commission meeting with alternatives. And I'm sure that in the meantime, all of us on the planning commission are going to be thinking about this long and hard. So that's the update about the zoning ordinance amendment request.
Thank you. So, do I still need to read your letter, Bruce?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay, so I have 8 public comment requests to read. So first is from Bruce and Karen Copus. Karen and I have lived all of our adult lives in Lathrup Village, and we have been blessed to experience the sense of community found here in the village. This is why we oppose the mammoth apartment complex that dwarfs the Annie Lathrup School. I cannot determine any positive effects on our bedroom community. I have identified many shortcomings. The Cernal Group wants to change an ordinance so he can build his dream development. The Cernal Group gets the project funded by a federal housing program called Pilot. They build the complex and he keeps his commercial properties in the village center healthy. Please know a city council battled Jeff Cernal and won. We saved the demolition of the Annie Lathrup School. Please read and discuss the disconnect between these words and the development. Chapter 40, Historical Preservation. The purpose of this article is to safeguard the heritage of the city by preserving the cultural, social, economic, political, and architectural elements having historical significance. Stabilize and improve property values in such districts. Foster and promote property values in such districts. Promote the use of local history for education, pleasure, and the welfare of the citizens of the city. Encourage the collection of records and objects which interpret the history of the city, and cooperate in the establishment and operation of a museum or other appropriate center for the custody and display of such items. This has to be part of the discussion. Thank you for your time. The next one is from Robert Kuntz. Dear members of the Lathrup Village City Council, I'm writing to express my strong opposition to the proposed apartment development at the historic Annie Lathrup school site. This project raises numerous concerns related to our city's heritage, infrastructure, and long-term financial well-being. I urge you to carefully consider these points and deny approval for this development. The Annie Lathrup School is one of the last remaining historic buildings in our city. Allowing developers to dismantle the interior and remove the essence of this historic site would be a travesty. This building represents an irreplaceable piece of our community's identity and history. Losing it to a development that fails to align with the city's character would irreparably damage our cultural heritage. The proposed pilot program for the apartment indicates that only 4% of rental revenue would go to the city. This is an alarming low contribution, especially when Lathrup Village is in need of sustainable revenue sources to support public service and infrastructure. Approving this project would effectively prioritize developer profits over the financial health of our community, leaving residents to shoulder the long-term costs. The design of the proposed apartment is entirely out of place. These would be the tallest buildings in the city, and their architectural style clashes with its existing aesthetics along Southfield Road. Lathrup has always prided itself on its charm and consistency, and this development would undermine that appeal. Moreover, the lack of resident input to date is deeply concerning. Community engagement should be a cornerstone of any project that has such a significant impact on our city's landscape. Adding such a large number of apartments along with the associated parking lots would eliminate much of the green space at the site. This will exacerbate issues with our already struggling sewer and water system. The removal of grassy areas and the increase in impermeable surfaces will worsen storm water management problems, potentially leading to flooding and other costly infrastructure failures. These risks are too great to ignore. This project is not in the best interest of Lathrup Village. It threatens to erase an essential part of our history, provides inadequate financial benefits, clashes with our city's character, and imposes additional burdens on our infrastructure. I respectfully urge you to listen to the concern of residents and deny approval for this development. Instead, I encourage the council to explore alternate uses for the Annie Lathrup school site that preserves its historic integrity while meeting the needs of our community in a more sustainable and inclusive manner. Thank you for your attention to this critical matter. I am confident that with thoughtful consideration, we can find a solution that aligns with the values and priorities of Lathrup Village. Sincerely, Robert Kuntz. What's the next one? This is from Cora Morgan. My name is Cora Morgan, and I live on Sunnybrook Avenue. I'm writing to express my support for the proposed development of the Annie Lathrup School. I've lived in Lathrup for 8 years. I have wanted to see the school property developed since I moved here. My understanding is that the school has now been vacant for decades. Surnow has been trying to develop this property for several years and finally has a workable proposal that could result in the school being developed instead of remaining a vacant eyesore. The only thing I see on social media from the same core group of residents who oppose this project, as they oppose nearly everything the city does, is fear-mongering, claiming low-income residents would be moving in. Low-income residents would be moving in, when that is simply false. Claiming that the apartments would place a substantial strain on the city's infrastructure when there is no actual evidence to support the claim, and claiming that the development would ruin the school when in fact the purpose of the proposal is to preserve the school. One of the concerns raised by these residents is that changing the ordinance to permit first floor residential units would permit other buildings in the historical district to convert their buildings to have first floor residencies. I would suggest that if the zoning ordinance is amended to permit this project to move forward, the city consider adding a provision to the ordinance that first floor residential would only be permitted in buildings that were originally constructed as residential buildings. First floor residential should not be permitted in already existing commercial buildings. Another concern raised by these residents is Surnow's request to receive tax relief through use of the pilot program. Using numbers another resident received from the city administrator, the city currently receives property taxes of $22,000 a year from the property. Under the pilot program, assuming 100% occupancy and with Surnow's proposed 4% rent sharing with the city will receive approximately $80,000 in revenue per year if the project was approved. My understanding is the 4% is Surnow's proposed amount. This could presumably be negotiated higher. This is $58,000 more than the city currently receives in property taxes for the property. The city can certainly benefit from an additional $58,000 in revenue per year. The bottom line is I want to see this property developed. I have serious concerns that if this proposal does not get the green light from the city, Surnow would continue to leave the building vacant, in which it could remain vacant for several more decades, or he could seek court approval to demolish the school, resulting in the loss of one of our historic buildings. I urge the council to override the HDC decision and approve this project.
8 years resident.
from Miguel Mitchell. Government-sponsored pilot apartment proposal for Lathrup Village. As a longtime Lathrup Village resident, I am concerned about the Surnow Group's proposal to build a 4-story apartment complex on Southfield Road in the middle of the business district of this community. Below are some of my concerns and questions regarding this proposal, since I am unable to attend the meeting. Here are my concerns and questions. What will be the impact of placing a complex of 4-story residential buildings in a single-family home neighborhood? How would our property values be affected? What kind of parking spaces would be offered to residents that would not be overly visible to the neighborhood? Will there be sufficient buffer zones of trees, grass, shrubs between the large apartment buildings and the single-family homes? What will be the impact on a quiet single-family home neighborhood with such a large concentration of new residents in a relatively small area? If there are little children in apartment buildings, where will they be able to play safely outside? If there are pets in the apartments, will there be space for animals to get exercise and go to the bathroom? Or will they need to go to the bathroom in the neighborhood? The amount of tax revenue for the city of Lathrup Village is low when compared to what other buildings this size would pay due to the government pilot program. Will a sufficient amount of money be made to benefit the community? The city of Detroit has been looking into this program recently. What kind of public transportation will be available to residents of this large apartment building should they need it? What is the impact on our historic district and green spaces? What is the impact on traffic on Southfield Road with a large apartment building suddenly adding many new residents and possibly new public transit routes? Thank you for reading this document at the meeting. Let's see, that was that one. That one. This is from Christina Schindler. I just want to state that I very much appreciate all the work the council is doing to improve our city, not just the wonderful new restaurants and businesses and much needed storefront updates, but the infrastructure of the city such as roads and water lines. When we bought our house here 3.5 years ago, some of the first improvements we made were chimney repair, a new roof, gutters, and driveways. Some of the saddest adult money ever spent. But we understand the importance of good foundations. So thank you for doing the not sexy work and implementing improvements from the bottom up. This is from Chad Matthew. I'm writing to express my concerns regarding the proposed Surnow project and the development of the Triangle Green Spaces. This development presents significant concerns for our community, including strain on infrastructure. The project's impact on existing infrastructure such as roads, sewers, and schools must be thoroughly assessed. Increased traffic congestion. The potential for increased traffic on already congested roads like Lathrup Boulevard and Golden Gate Street is a major concern. Loss of green space. The elimination of the last remaining green space in the city would have a detrimental impact on the quality of life for our residents. Before proceeding with this project, Surnow should address all residents' concerns, provide clear and comprehensive answers to all outstanding questions raised by the community, pay their fair share, ensure the project contributes its fair share to the city's tax base, adhere to the master plan, ensure the development aligns with the city's existing master plan for the area, maintain existing ordinance, refrain from seeking changes to existing ordinance that would facilitate the project, and possibly set precedents for other locations to do the same. I urge you to carefully consider these concerns and advocate for the best interests of our community. Thank you for taking time for reading it. I think I'm done. I believe that is it.
Does my actually ask a question?
Go ahead.
My husband spoke earlier, and we have been here for years, 26 years. And when we first moved in, we had actually talked to the city council about pulling a boulevard in between street, on Southfield Road. That never developed, unfortunately. But I'm seeing things that are like redone, like of course the center that's right across the street from here. And they now have all this slab of cement with no greenery at all. There's not a tree or anything, and I was asking actually the nail salon, I said, what's going on here? Why is it so big? And he said, well, it's because the ice cream place and the new restaurant, they want to have outdoor eating. Well, that's fine, but what is that, 3 months of the year? Otherwise, it's just, I mean, there's nothing. Don't we have something with the city planning that they have to put some greenery in? I mean, there should be a buffer between the streets and, I mean, I look down even in Southfield and even right at the corner, I mean, they have a cement short wall. I mean, you don't have to be blocking any names of signs or anything, but I think we should have some like trees or something. It looks like we're getting to be very sterile, I guess. There's no softness in green space, and I just wanted to bring that up. Whatever gets done, I just don't want all the green space just to disappear. So I just wanted to make a comment about that. So it's not necessarily just about this project, but wherever.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment since we're off script? I want to thank the council for handling this meeting of people who have been here, veterans that are emotional about this issue, and providing the rest of us with the procedures and policies and things that have taken place the way a city is ran. And I appreciate you respectfully informing us who did not know information was already out there about this. Appreciate you.
Welcome. Since we're out here, is there anyone else that wants to be heard? Go ahead.
So I have a question. So you say it's premature, but my understanding is, so, okay, if there is a site plan, does the city have any, can the city then say at that point the city can completely turn down the site plan? Because my understanding is where the power that city has is in the ordinance, first floor ordinance, is in either accepting or rejecting the HDC's, their vote, and then also in accepting the pilot, which 2 of those have just already happened. So you say it's premature, but if that meeting is supposed to happen next week, then at what point do you think it's appropriate to inform the residents to have a town hall if that's the only power that you have, because we don't own that land?
So they took back the HDC, so there's no appealing that, so they took that away, right? Yes or
that
no?
just happened
No, I'm
today.
just asking you a question now. They took
Yes.
that away, right? So we're
That
not doing that, right?
But that happened today.
But they're not doing it anymore, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, if they reject the first floor, then they can adjust the plan and not have first floor. It still has to. Well, it doesn't have to go through, but you can explain that part. They can reject the first floor ordinance.
Yeah, if the planning commission doesn't recommend that the city council pass the zoning ordinance amendment to allow first floor residential occupancy in that district, then they have choices that they can make. They can adjust the site plan so that it doesn't include any first floor residences. They can trash the plan altogether and move on to whatever their next step would be,
Right.
which we have no idea what that could be. Could be destroying the school.
Right.
Could be a different project. We don't know.
Well, destroying the school, the council still, through the HGC, would have control to say
Can't do
that
that.
they can't just destroy the school. So
I
that's not
don't
an
think
option.
that that's necessarily true. If
That's
I'm
what I
not-
was told
I'm
by the
not-
HGC.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Is it a portion of it?
Well, there are factors such as to when it can be demolished, and one of them is an economic impossibility for the developer. So if they are able to establish that, then they do have the right under the city's ordinance to
Even if it's a
to
historic
demolish
landmark?
it.
But I thought that's what the purpose, the HGC protects against that, because it's.
It tries to, that's what this whole process is, trying to protect that, but in the end, ultimately, it is owned by somebody. So they do have an interest in that land.
And then the asbestos law,
So-
the federal law would protect
So
it from being.
before we
Well, that
can,
I don't.
just let her
get
finish
into.
in explaining that, because I want to make sure you heard that loud and clear. Economic disadvantage that he can claim. Impossibility, sorry.
I'm not sure if I'm
And he,
quoting
and
it
then
exactly.
he could tear it down.
But that,
So there is a
that trumps the
process.
HGC, or you
There is
don't
a
know?
process for that in the ordinance of the Historical District Commission. That is
Okay.
one of the factors to be considered in making a decision. So if you wanna pull up, I don't have it in front of me right now, the ordinance, to get the exact wording. But if it
Leanne, I
came to
do.
that-
It's under the Historic District Commission, it's section 40-29, and it's part H3. So grounds for approving an application, and this considers everything. Retention of the structure would cause undue financial hardship of the owner. So if they can qualify that, they have the right to demolish it.
But can we
So,
add
okay.
that that is because the council has not enforced code and allowed him demolition by neglect? So that could be challenged in court as well, because he's deliberately
Diane,
trashed the building.
Diane, thank you for it.
Well,
thank
you're the
you.
business
No.
person, you know about code enforcement.
But the city has enforced code.
No, you haven't.
Yes, we
Diane,
have.
we're not,
And there are
Diane,
findings about it.
Diane, we're not going back and forth, okay? We're not. So, I just want, and we're good with this, so, I mean,
And that's just a very, I'm just trying to answer off the cuff, your question that involves a lot of,
What if?
there's a lot more to it, but it's not there's been word out there that it's impossible. No way can they demolish, they're not allowed. That's not true
helpful.
either, so.
But my question to you is when then do you think, because if they would not have pulled it, you were gonna vote next week. The council was gonna vote on whether or not to accept the HDCs. So then when do you think is an appropriate time to have a town hall if you think we're still premature? Because to me, that's when you guys have the most power, because you guys can say, no, we're gonna uphold the HDC, and then he has to go back and rework his plan. So
let me
that's
ask you this question. Bruce, when did we have the, town hall when Michigan First was, developed?
no
Was it
memory.
before or after the site plan?
There I actually do not know. I do know that with the planning commission considering altering the language of an ordinance before a site plan review has occurred.
Yeah.
Seems rather premature. And also giving Cernal the signal that, yes, we're good to go. In fact, I think the planning commissioner chairman said, it was kind of a done deal, this first floor.
Yep.
I mean, in his own words.
The chair of the planning commission did not say that.
He said something very close to that.
No,
Okay.
he said we had offered them the opportunity to consider the language for a zoning ordinance amendment. And we did that. We considered it.
Can someone explain
So,
the site
okay, so
plan?
this is what we're gonna, cause public comment was already closed. So I will say this, is that, for me, what I think, and this is Kelly, not the council, is once the site plan was approved, then that's when I would say we needed to have a town hall, we need to have some input, we need to see what this is really gonna look like. Cause to me, right now, the way that it stands, for me, is that this is not a foregone, this is what's about to happen.
Yeah.
It could never happen, it could be totally changed, as I already said, because I only deal with right today. This is something I'm trying to learn how to do, is stay in the present moment, and that is, they took back their appeal from the HDC. So that means they're going back to the HDC with new plans. We have no idea what those new plans look like whatsoever.
Once the site plan is approved, does the council have any authority, does the city have any authority to then change anything, is my question.
Yes. Isn't that right during the site plan, that's a site plan review?
During the site plan
Yeah.
review, we have the opportunity, after the site plan's been reviewed, then that's the plan that they would build towards.
My apologies, so before.
So it's not premature.
This is premature, they haven't even got to the site plan yet.
Oh my God.
They haven't done that.
Site plan review.
So yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry, my mistake, I was mistaken about that, sorry.
I'm here learning, so just getting clarification.
My thing is, and I'm sorry to be off the cuff, is that there's a lot of fear mongering about this, right? And it's a lot of, excuse me. That's all I'm trying to hate. I'm saying from the point of view as me as a resident, okay, that's all I'm saying, is that I think that, I've heard about it being low income and that you don't wanna have low income. I heard some other things that was really, really bad of what I heard, what might be coming to Lathrup. And my whole thing is that I would like to see it actually played out. I wanna see something happen with this building. I personally wanna see something happen with this building. And so, but you know what the whole thing is, then maybe you should take a meeting with Cernal, come up with a great plan for the building, and tell him how you can get these grants, because that's another thing that he got. He got a lot of money from the MEDC to develop this building that's never happened before. So these are some things, my suggestion, call him. Call
You
his,
work for us, he doesn't, that's why we're here.
Right.
Yeah, you represent us.
Okay.
That's all we're asking. This is concern. This isn't fear mongering.
I'm saying what
You want to talk about
said-
insulting
just 1 second,
terminology?
okay?
That's it right there.
So
And that came out of a letter, so I don't know if you picked that up.
From
but
what?
that letter you read.
No, it's not.
Someone in the letter
I read
said
every
fear
single
mongering. Now
thing
you're
that is
repeating it.
written on our Facebook. I read it every night. And that's some of the things that's in there and the things that I've been told that people have said also. So it's not just from that letter. So I understand that you all are concerned. I'm gonna, I would like to see this played out. I would like for you to get in contact, which everybody else is contacted, so now why not? I think you should have a town hall once we get to that portion. I think that, coming with ideas, coming with, concrete ideas is a good idea also, just to give them something else to think about. The tax, that's usually never a good thing. That's not how to get people to really wanna listen, or help, but that's the way of the world at this point. Does anyone else on council have anything to say?
Yes. I got a few things. Diane, happy belated birthday, I believe you said.
That was a good one, it was inauguration day.
I know you made a point that you didn't like our playgrounds. Our Parks and Recs committee are actively pursuing a lot of grants, funding, and we're doing a lot to try to
Next to the
update.
freeway?
I'm sorry?
Next to the freeway?
Not that one specifically, but feel
Middle of the
free,
road at
but you
Fair
can
Road?
feel, excuse me, you can feel free to come to any of our committee meetings. You can feel free to voice your opinion, they're all public. I'm just letting you know that there are 4 other unpaid citizens that are working really hard behind the scenes to do whatever they can for the city. And I'm gonna defend the committee that I sit on. I understand, as a person that has children that uses these parks, they aren't the best parks, which is why I'm happy I'm on the committee to try to do something about it. I would love if everyone could come out, come to the meetings, help us. We'll take all the help we can get. I'm not sure if anyone uses the parks more than I do, but I have a vested interest in having nice parks. I am embarrassed and tired of having to go to other cities to go to their playgrounds. So that's stuff that we are currently working on. Again, there are 4 people that volunteer their time to try to do what we can. Feel free to come and help. We love all the help we can get.
Dalton, I just want to ask you, Kelly nominated one person to be on the committee when they said they had 4 people apply to it. Why wouldn't you just have them all? Why would you?
If I remember correctly, we have 5 members on the committee, and 1 person dropped off. So based off of how the committee was stood up,
Why can't
We
your
used to have
committee
large
be a group of people?
Please let him finish.
I can do 1 person at a time.
Okay.
So
I'm just saying.
based off, I'm answering your question. Based off of how the committee was set up, it was set up to have 5 members.
Okay.
So 1 person resigned. At the moment, we can only choose 1. Autumn, did you have a question?
We used to have large committees. We used to have committees without a rule about how many could be on there. And that was, involving resident involvement. It was awesome. It was vibrant. It was, vital. And this kind of, planting, individuals that are particularly easy to work with.
One second, I wanted to say
is
something to Roger
something.
before he left.
Something.
Roger?
Yep.
Need trees. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I understand that that's how it used to be. I'm not sure what to tell you. It was not my choice to make it 5. It wasn't my choice to shrink it or grow it. That's just what it is currently. More people sometimes is good, sometimes isn't.
You talked about things, we've talked tonight about this committee a council operating by
I'm so
Can I
sorry,
just
Dan.
ask a
I'm
question
gonna come
about
back, I'm
Birmingham?
gonna come back to you. There are people leaving, so I wanna try to address people before they go. A lot of people have already been addressed. So my understanding of the school, just so people are understanding where I'm coming from. We don't own the school, we don't own the property. Builders can build on the property that they own. I understand that there's some influence that we have in terms of ordinances, but in terms of telling them what to build, as far as I understand, we don't have much power about that. I do know that at one of the study sessions I was able to make, a CERNOW representative did appear. There were concerns then. They were directed to the CERNOW representative, and I believe he spoke with them after and took their advice into consideration. I think that, personally, I don't know for sure, I think that might be why they withdrew their appeal, because they heard other people's input. please reach out to Sir now. They own it. They, for the most part, can do with it. They can do with it what they would like. We all want to see it be amazing, whether they, no matter what they do. Please contact them. If you need help contacting them, email me and I will contact them on your behalf. I do apologize up front for my slow response. These 2 kids I have under 3 are kicking my butt at home.
Can I just note that the school was
I
in
will,
perpetuity?
Diane, I will come back to you, but I do know people are trying to leave. So I just want to get through what I have and then I can go back to you.
It has to do
Or
with
I can wait till after.
transparency.
That's Mr. Walsh. He's Welsh. Sorry, Mr. Walsh spoke about it, and it's down here on my list. And I'll be here. My kids, thank God, I have a wonderful wife. My kids are asleep, so I have a little bit of leeway. I really hope she's not watching. Mr. Welsh, I understand that you don't know much. You hadn't before heard much about the project. From my understanding, they have their idea, not to appease the city, but it needs to go, since it's a historical building, it needs to go through the HDC, be approved and move forward, then to site plan. And I know now that during a site plan review is when we have a lot more input. I'm sorry that you not hearing this information and any other things that we could have done gives the appearance that we're sneaking around. I'm not trying to do anything sneakily because I know if people don't like what's happening, I'm going to be one of a few people that gets a lot of emails about it. I hope that this has been a little bit helpful, and I know that there's going to be more to come. Cool. Mrs. Welsh?
Tardivy.
I am so sorry.
He's sitting between
We're
us.
friends.
but
We're friends.
There's nothing between us.
Mrs. Tardivy.
As far as you know. Not today.
I'm a fan of green spaces too. Go trees. Go parks. I think that's a really good idea, and I do hope that our Parks and Recs committee, our tree committee, and site plan, or the planning committee can hear what you have to say to try to get more green spaces moving forward so that it's not just gone.
Thank you.
And then I had a few just general things. From my understanding, a lot of the businesses on South, I'll give you guys my point of view, if housing did open up and it was amicable for everybody. From my understanding, our small businesses are not doing that well. Some of them definitely are, but I'm tired of driving, looking at empty or vacant business spaces. I'm not saying that they all need to be redone, but I want to get people in there. I know that people can't stay in there if there's not enough revenue. And our city is as big as it is. I personally think that adding a lot of people right here on Southfield Road has a good chance of picking up some business for some of the smaller businesses. I personally think that there's a chance that there could be some good from that because I want businesses to come here and thrive. I want businesses to want to be in Lathrup. But if we don't have the people that go out to patronize these businesses and there's not enough people from outside Lathrup, I'm not sure how that can feasibly happen for them. At the last meeting I was at, that the Surnow representative was at, I asked him if these plans don't make it through the HDC and site plan for it being a apartment building, if they have any other plans. He told me that they've been at this for, I don't know how long, it's been a long time. And that they would just have to stop and go back to the drawing board. Me personally, I understand that making a choice isn't always just positive. There's gonna be some positive, some negative. I personally wanna see something to be done with that building. It's sitting there, it is nice and historic, but it doesn't, to me, look the best. It's not very upkept, and I don't necessarily fault them for not upkeeping it. I personally wouldn't pay money to upkeep a building that I'm not using.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
They rejected every opportunity with
What
the
was that?
historical commission. Are there any-
They shouldn't have a choice to
So,
leave
and
the
again, I don't have.
building in disrepair.
They
Uh,
fix
m-
windows.
So
and they
up
should
here,
fix it
up
too,
here
right?
on council and our city workers, I don't have the most experience. And they will correct me if I'm wrong, hopefully right now. But my understanding is, the city sold them that property and the building a while ago.
No, they didn't. It was a,
1 second,
I don't know what the history is on that either.
okay. Thank you. So, if that is the case,
no.
so if that is the case, I don't see how we can tell someone what they can do with their property. If that is not the case, again, I will get corrected at some point, either by a citizen or by these people. If that's not the case, then we can do an alternate path. If it is the case that we don't own that property or the building, it wouldn't be fair for me to come tell you what to do at your house. Like, you need to tear it down and build a new house, because that's your property. That's my opinion. Might not be the most informed, but that's where I'm at.
Well, can I let you know?
No,
what
Not yet.
No, you don't want to know because
I'm
what
coming,
you're
I
saying
told you I'm
isn't
coming
true.
back. I told you I'm coming back to you.
It isn't true.
Roger left before I could tell him more tree stuff. But that's all that I had. Diane, I'm giving her
All
one
right,
more
first of
question,
all,
told her I'm coming back to her.
Two questions, what I was going to ask you.
I'll give you one, but I don't, other people still need to talk.
Well, since we're getting this disinformation about the school, it was deeded.
That's not a question.
I'm going to say something.
If you could just lead with the question,
All right.
I'd appreciate it.
Why do you not tell people that when the Annie Lathrop School was deeded to the Southfield schools, it came with a restriction, it always had to be used for educational purposes?
That is.
When the Southfield
So
public schools,
I'm
not
gonna
the
answer
city
your
of Lake.
I'm gonna answer your question real quick.
No, I'm
I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
I have not finished the
So,
question yet.
actually, public comment has been closed.
I'm
for
asking a
long-
question about why you are not putting something forward.
I would like to answer your question.
I haven't finished my question. I'm trying to get the question out, and you keep interrupting me.
I'll give
The
you
rea-
one last 3 minutes.
The reality is that when the Southfield Schools sold it to Cerno, it came with a warranty deed that retained those restrictions. It's a council from Lathrup Village that changed that warranty deed that allowed the Cerno group to get in. And at the end of the day, it is councils that have sat back. So my question is, why do we continue to run this line that there's nothing you can do, that he has a right to trash the place by demolition by neglect, that basically it's okay to let him do what he wants?
Okay. I've answered your question previously. That's the information that I know. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm an expert in the matter. From my understanding, that's how it works. Also, if the warranty was changed by prior council, it also seems like the chance for us to get it back was changed by prior council and likely doesn't exist anymore. That's everything that I had.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to be heard?
I have a couple things. First of all, I appreciate the feedback that residents are providing, both to the planning commission and to council, about the renderings that the Cerno company has put forth and publicized for us to consider, because that's the way both of these entities get information that we can then push back on the owner of a property like that on, right? If you propose a 250 unit building and people are like, well, that looks terrible, why would we want that? It gives us the ammunition to go back and ask for something different. So please continue to provide feedback, but please provide it with not just this is what I don't like, but here's what I would prefer. But in doing that, keep in mind that the proposals have to make business sense as well as sense for the residents. It can't be a zero-sum game, but it can't only benefit the residents. It can't be a community room or community building that can only be used by residents, because it's got to make business sense to the property owner. So then we need to compromise. If we want anything done with the development of that property, that's the only way that it's going to happen. If we don't find ways to compromise and find ways that benefit people that already live in the city, but also benefits the property owner, then it's going to either continue to sit dormant, or there very likely could be an effort to try to dismantle it. And I don't think anybody, nobody in this room wants to see that. I can't imagine anybody in the city would want to see that building torn down if it doesn't have to be. I'll remind people that 15 years ago, there was a development of a master plan for the city, which actually generated the current districting that we have in the city, including the Village Center District, and there was huge uproar then about, oh my God, they're gonna tear down everything in the middle of California Drive on both sides of Southfield Road. People flipped out, and nothing's happened since then. And so, it's usually not the worst case scenario that you're expecting in your brain when you first get presented with an idea. It's usually something different happens than what either the developer or the people being impacted by it expect. So just try to keep an open mind about the master plan and the impact that it's had on the development. Also, the master plan was intended to be aspirational and try to encourage development inside the Village Center District, and that hasn't happened. So, ask yourself, how come we don't have how come we don't have Westbourne Market here? Is it because it doesn't make economic sense for somebody to open up a supermarket like that in Lathrup Village, in that specific part of the city? We don't get, as a city, either as residents or as council, the opportunity to pick and choose who's gonna move in with what businesses. We can try and encourage and solicit bids and support from different property owners, but if there is no business owner that wants to open up a business that residents would like, well, we can't force them to do that. So then we gotta work with the proposals that are in front of us, and that's what we are trying to do. Keep in mind, I mentioned renderings earlier. Renderings are not site plans. They are aspirational. There's an idea. We want you to consider it. This is what we think this thing might look like. It's not a hard and fast site plan. And as has been mentioned many times tonight, we are not at site plan review yet. It's literally just considering the renderings, getting feedback, refining them, and trying to move towards something that could be reviewed for site plan review. The payment in lieu of taxes or pilot that has been mentioned several times tonight. There was a proposal by Cernow that would amount for that pilot, that payment in lieu of taxes would be 4% of the rents that they collect on whatever they build there. But that's what they're proposing. That's not what has been agreed to. There's a negotiation that has to happen along that, and that's when we talk about things like fear-mongering, things like mentioning low-income housing, or the fact that the city's only gonna get 4% of rents instead of the actual taxable value of a property. That's fear-mongering, because neither one of those things are true. So check your facts before you come to us with that. Finally, a lot of people have been living in this city for a long time, and some people have been living in the city for less time. Whether you've lived in the city for 8 years, 80 years, or 8 days, I consider you the same. You're just as important to me in my position as a city council person as anybody else who lives in this city. We all live here and have a vested interest in it. Nobody that's lived here for a long time is special. We're just residents, and we need to figure out how to live in this community together. That's what I'm trying to do, is represent everybody, not just the people that have lived here for decades. Suggesting that we should consider the viewpoints of people that have lived here for a long time more than somebody that's lived here for 8 days is
No, we just
elitist.
remember how it used to
Okay,
be.
go ahead.
It's elitist.
Yes.
It is elitist.
But it's
Absolutely
okay to
elitist.
Hey, excuse me, okay, he's doing his comments and the public comment is closed. Go ahead.
I am done. Thank you.
Okay. Jalen, is there anything?
You don't treat people as equal. People that live along the
Jalen,
development don't.
Jalen, do you have anything?
I just want to say, thank you all for exercising your civic duty. We all have disagreements. We all want the city to be exactly what we want it to be. So we all want to work with you all. We're not trying to be sneaky. We're trying to work with you. So I will encourage a town hall. I will encourage us to do the things that we need to do in order to make sure that you all feel comfortable with this project, whatever it is. We don't know what it is. I also would like to thank everyone for coming with some solutions, not only just your dismay for the project. I thank you for coming with solutions. I hope we can come to a conclusion, whatever happens, and I hope we all can continue to live in this community cohesively and just kind of simmer down a little bit. So I just want to let you know that we hear you, or I hear you personally, and I thought you guys came with some great solutions or great ideas. Will they be considered? I'm not sure, but I just appreciate the fact that you all came with solutions. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
EA Parks?
Okay, I take a motion to adjourn.
We have to make a motion to go into closed
Oh,
session to consider periodic personnel evaluation at the request of the city administrator for MCL 15.268A.
You made the motion for it?
I did.
Second.
Okay. Going into close.
Oh, you need a roll call.
Oh, roll call, sorry.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Hammond,
Yes.
Councilmember Barksdale,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes. Like a motion to bring back the,
In the closed session?
in the closed session and resume as city council.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the closed session and reconvene as city council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hammond.
Yes.
Councilmember Barksdale.
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings.
Yes.
Mayor
Yes.
Garrett, yes.
Now take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Bang.